us tonight. Where will you go? Do you know, little Nemo? What will you do on your mystic midnight flight?
In the early 1900s, an American cartoonist named Winsor McCay created a comic strip for the New York Herald called Little Nemo in Slumberland, a bizarre fantasy tale about a boy's adventures in his dreams as he journeys to Slumberland at the behest of King Morpheus to become the playmate for his daughter, Princess Camille. The strip was surreal, to say the least, and was oftentimes dark, violent, and touched on delicate subject matter. You may be familiar with McCay's animated cartoon Gertie the Dinosaur, which was largely considered to be the first animated cartoon featuring a character personality. McCay's whimsical imagination and breakthroughs in the science of animated motion pictures paved way for visionaries like Walt Disney. Fast forward to 1978, Fujioka Yutaka, a producer from Tokyo movie Shinsha, put together a project for a full-length animated film based on Little Nemo's comic strips. The project passed through the hands of many talented filmmakers including Hayao Miyazaki, Chuck Jones, Gary Kurtz, even George Lucas. Ultimately, it was Chris Columbus, director of movies such as Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the ever-popular Harry Potter films, who was credited for writing the screenplay. The film was released in Japan in 1989 and was followed up by a successful Nintendo game by Capcom in 1990. We here in the States actually got the game 2 years before the film. I admit I thought the movie was based on the video game when I first saw it. I gotta say this film doesn't get nearly enough recognition that it deserves. It stands on par with some of the greatest animated features ever made. Everything from brilliant animation right down to a delightfully engaging musical score. They just don't make films like this anymore. Getting into the movie, Nemo goes to sleep one night when he's awakened by the arrival of King Morpheus' royal escort service, headed up by, and I'm quoting, Professor Genius. No one likes a stuffed shirt with an ego, Poindexter. Nemo and his highly marketable pet Icarus, the flying squirrel, hop aboard the king's dirigible. It's an early predecessor of a zeppelin or a blimp. Not long after takeoff, the airship runs into a cloud of nightmare. Pretty surreal stuff, huh? I should also comment on the scary imagery of this film. Disney used to be best at using scary images in their animated films. It's an art form in and of itself that seems to have died out with the arrival of farting animal movies. But take the movie's main villain, the Nightmare King, for example. That's one scary-looking bastard. Between him and that freaky nightmare stuff, there was enough here to send shivers down my spine when I was a kid watching this movie back in the day. The intensity of the film also stems from the acting, which far exceeds your average cartoon. Although sometimes they get carried away with the voices. For example, listen to the princess in these two scenes.
It's just that no one has ever accepted a royal invitation in his underwear. Underwear? Where are we?
Speaking of voices, Nemo's mischievous friend Flip is voiced by the incomparable Mickey Rooney.
You got it. I'm frightfully funny, frightfully friendly, and I can make your dreams come true.
The story conveys an honesty moral as Nemo makes promises he doesn't keep. First, when attempting to swipe his mother's pie, a sequence that was cut from the VHS release, making a later nightmare sequence a tad confusing, and later as King Morpheus grants Nemo a key that unlocks all the doors in Slumberland, but asks that he not open a certain door bearing the symbol on the key. So what's the first thing the little punk does? He opens the door. Well, first he fools around with the princess, who seems to have no redeeming personality traits, and then causes trouble with Flip, including assaulting policemen. This scene was also cut from the VHS tape. I guess they considered it imitatable behavior. But Nemo opens the door, and the king is swallowed up by black sludge like a walrus caught in an Exxon spill. So Nemo and company decide to journey to Nightmare Land to rescue the king. They befriend a troop of friendly goblins, who are pretty annoying for the most part, but they help work in a few humorous moments with Flip.
I'm let's see now. A forest here, a swamp here, and some mountains here. And that'd put Nightmare's castle right about here.
Nope, not about there. Right about here.
Thanks.
So Nemo reaches the Nightmare King's castle. I gotta say, this sequence has great animation. And best of all, it's pre-CGI. I don't know, I just think hand-drawn animation is superior. Harder? More expensive? Absolutely. But it's worth it when you get results like this. Nemo uses King Morpheus' magic scepter to blast the hell out of the Nightmare King and... uh-oh! Is Nemo dead? Yeah, we've seen this routine a million times. And once again I should point out that this mourning sequence was a lot shorter in the VHS version. I guess they didn't want to pull a Bambi's mom number on the kiddies in the audience, huh? But everything's happy and Nemo wakes up just as he's about to get some. This DVD's been off the market for quite a while, but it's coming back on January 27, 2009, so you won't have to shell out $80 or more for it on the collector's market. And I strongly recommend picking it up if you're a fan of cartoons, anime, fantasy, or just plain good old movies. It's really a great film, and if you haven't seen it, I guess I spoiled the ending for you, didn't I?
No! Phew. Only a dream.
Welcome to Slumberland, joys without numberland, rainbows end, kingdom of dreamy time, starbeam